On our website, you can get PDF learning materials for free. Please visit englist.me.
Transport.
A system for moving people or products from one location to another using automobiles, roads, and so on.
Examples:
Transport facilities. Access to public transport. Enhanced rail transportation is crucial for our business.
Estimate.
To guess or calculate the cost, the size, value, etc. of something.
Examples:
Estimate of fair value. Estimate this chicken to weigh 3 pounds. We estimated the season's total trade deficit at $50 billion.
Traffic.
The movement of vehicles, people, or goods along a route or through a transport system, the amount of such movement in a particular place or at a particular time.
Examples:
Traffic jam. Heavy traffic. We decided to take a detour to avoid the construction traffic on the main road.
Accident.
An unfortunate event, especially one causing damage or injury.
Examples:
Cause an accident. Injury in a car accident. The accident partially destroyed my vehicle.
Eliminate.
To remove or get rid of someone or something.
Examples:
Eliminate contestants. Eliminate sexual barriers. We can eliminate this possibility from those consumptions.
Achieve.
To successfully complete a task or goal, often through hard work, perseverance, and dedication, to attain or accomplish something that one has set out to do.
Examples:
Achieve success. Achieve milestones. I will work hard to achieve my goals and realize my dreams.
Vintage.
Denoting something from the past, especially from the recent past.
Examples:
Vintage wine. A poor vintage. The vintage car collection was worth millions of dollars.
Mechanical.
Operated by a machine, relating to or concerned with machinery or tools.
Examples:
A mechanical style of writing. The influence of mechanical action. A mechanical engineer is still in demand in many companies.
Bunch.
A grouping of several similar things which are growing or fastened together.
Examples:
A bunch of trees. A bunch of schoolgirls. One bad apple spoils the whole bunch.
Pedestrian.
A person who is in the street, especially in an area where vehicles go.
Examples:
Pedestrian accident. Pedestrian safety. A pedestrian is an uncommon sight in this area.
Swerve.
To change direction suddenly, often to avoid something or to turn sharply.
Examples:
Swerve off the road. Swerve from the topic. The driver had to swerve to avoid hitting the deer in the middle of the road.
Bystander.
A person who witnesses an event or situation but does not actively participate or intervene.
Examples:
Innocent bystander. Shocked bystander. The bystander effect is a phenomenon where people are less likely to intervene in an emergency if others are present.
Decide.
To make up someone's mind about something, to come to a conclusion or judgment after considering options.
Examples:
Decide a question. Decide on a course of action. She couldn't decide whether to order the pizza or the pasta for dinner.
Scenario.
A description of possible actions or events in the future, a written outline of a play, film, or literary work.
Examples:
The worst case scenario. Number of different scenarios. The president prepared several possible scenarios for an enemy attack.
Inspire.
To make somebody feel with the desire, confidence, or enthusiasm, especially to do something creative.
Examples:
Inspire a feeling of curiosity. Inspire him to write a novel. The unique style of this martial arts inspired many action film producers.
Trolley.
A wheeled cart or platform used for transporting items or goods. In British English, a device for collecting electrical power from an overhead line to power an electric vehicle. In American English, a shopping cart used in supermarkets.
Examples:
Trolley cart. Shopping trolley. The tourists enjoyed taking a ride on the historic trolley in the city.
Invention.
The creation of a new device or process resulting from study and experimentation, the act of inventing.
Examples:
The invention of new techniques. Common invention. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Philosophy.
The study of general and fundamental questions, such as those about existence, reason, knowledge, values, mind.
Examples:
Philosophy of education. Western philosophy. Ethics is a branch of philosophy.
Ethics.
A branch of philosophy that considers what is morally right and wrong conduct, a set of beliefs about what is morally right and wrong.
Examples:
Political ethics. Ethics of journalism. This scripture provides the code of ethics for the religion.
Realistic.
Having or showing a sensible and practical idea that is possible to achieve.
Examples:
A realistic goal. A realistic goal. That story was so realistic, and it was scary.
Incredibly.
In a way that is very difficult to believe, exceedingly, or extremely.
Examples:
Incredibly cheerful character. Get incredibly insecure. Several cities are experiencing incredibly high unemployment rates.
Unlikely.
Not probable or likely to happen.
Examples:
Unlikely event. It is unlikely that he would win the game. The passage of the bill is unlikely.
Criticism.
The act of analyzing, evaluating, or judging something, especially literary or artistic work, to find fault with it or to offer suggestions for improvement, the expression of disapproval or censure.
Examples:
Criticism from the public. Harsh criticism. Constructive criticism is always helpful to help improving one's work.
Calculate.
To judge or find out the amount or number of something by using mathematics.
Examples:
Calculate the distance. Calculate his credit score. He couldn't calculate the actual value of the artwork.
Probabilistic.
Characterized by the influence of chance or probability, involving the use of statistical models or methods to estimate likelihoods or risks.
Examples:
Probabilistic model. Probabilistic approach. In a probabilistic system, the outcome is uncertain and can vary based on chance.
Slightly.
In a small degree or extent, a little.
Examples:
Increase slightly. Slightly alkaline soils. He moved his body slightly to the left.
Complexity.
The state or quality of being complicated or intricate and difficult to understand.
Examples:
Cognitive complexity. Complexity theory. The project's complexity made it difficult for the team to complete it on time.
Calculation.
The act or process of using numbers to judge an amount of something.
Examples:
Make a calculation. Calculation of loss and gain. The error in the calculation was attributable to rounding.
Involve.
To include or affect someone or something as a necessary part of something else.
Examples:
Involve a lot of paperwork. Involve a high degree of risk. The investigation involves several government agencies and is expected to take several months.
Trade-off.
A balance achieved between two desirable but incompatible features, an exchange that occurs as a compromise.
Examples:
Trade-off problem. Environmental trade-off. There was a trade-off between speed and accuracy in the task.
Suppose.
To think that something is likely to be actual or possible.
Examples.
Suppose you're right. Suppose beforehand. What do you suppose the culprit's motive was?
Adopt.
To choose to follow something, to legally take a child from another family and care for them as if they were one's own.
Examples.
Adopt a child. Adopt a bill. The National Assembly has adopted the budget.
Maintain.
To continue to uphold or sustain, to keep in a particular state or condition, to assert or declare something to be true.
Examples.
Maintain order. Maintain good health. I need to maintain my car regularly to prevent any major mechanical issues.
Eject.
To force someone to put out or leave a particular place or position.
Examples.
Eject a player from a game. Eject huge amounts of pollutant. Our immune system can eject disease germs from the body.
Destruction.
The act of causing so much damage to something.
Examples.
Path of destruction. Cyclonic destruction. The extinction of several subspecies has been linked to climate change and habitat destruction.
Acknowledge.
To accept or admit the existence, reality, or truth of something. To accept that someone or something has a particular authority or quality. To express obligation, thanks, or gratitude for someone's help, commitment, etc.
Examples.
Acknowledge the deed. Acknowledge his help. He never acknowledged his fault.
Survey.
An investigation of the opinions, behavior, etc. of a particular group of people, made by asking people questions.
Examples.
A comprehensive survey. Recent survey. That survey shows that people are accepting the tax increase to some extent.
Ultimate.
Furthest or highest in degree or order.
Examples.
The ultimate goal in life. The ultimate luxury. Management must take ultimate responsibility for the accident.
Societal.
Relating to society or social relationships.
Examples.
Societal norms. Societal expectations. The societal pressure to conform is strong in this community.
Collaborate.
To work with someone else to produce or achieve something.
Examples.
Collaborate with the police. Collaborate on a press release. She agreed to collaborate with him in creating new artwork.
Utilitarian.
Designed to be practical and functional rather than decorative or luxurious.
Examples:
Utilitarian design. Utilitarian economics. The kitchen is designed with a utilitarian approach, focusing on practicality rather than aesthetics.
Minimize.
To make something, especially something bad, small or less serious.
Examples:
Minimize a loss. Way to minimize conflict. I bought a gadget before my trip to help minimize stress during the flight.
Bound.
To move forward by leaps and bounds, to form the boundary of something.
Examples:
Bounded with delight. Bound up a staircase. Canada bounds on the United States.
Principle.
A fundamental law or truth that explains or controls how something happens or works.
Examples:
Principle of treatment. Principle in business. Efficiency isn't an essential principle here, fairness is.
Shout.
An archaic form of shall, which is used to indicate a command, a requirement, or a prediction.
Examples:
Full of thou shalt nots. List of thou shalts. Thou shalt not steal.
Explicit.
Stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt.
Examples:
Explicit content. Explicit instructions. The movie had an explicit sex scene that some viewers might find offensive.
Absolutely.
Without restriction or limitation, completely or utterly.
Examples:
Absolutely against. Absolutely obsessed with the girl. I am absolutely opposed to his idea because of morality.
Dilemma.
A situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more options, especially that are equally unfavorable ones.
Examples:
Chicken and egg dilemma. Be in a dilemma. The choice between bureaucracy and adhocracy represents a common dilemma.
Economical.
Providing a satisfactory return on the money, time, or effort, not using more money, fuel, etc. than necessary.
Examples:
Economical use of her time. An economical meal. It is more economical to wash your plastic bottle and reuse it.
Pamphlet.
A small booklet that contains information or arguments about a particular subject.
Examples:
Propaganda pamphlet. Pamphlet in English. The political organization handed out pamphlets to raise awareness about their cause.
Graze.
To feed on grass or other vegetation, especially by nibbling at it repeatedly, to break the skin of a body part by scraping.
Examples:
Turn cattle out to graze. Graze the left shoulder. The sheep graze on the green grass in the meadow.
Rejuvenate.
To make someone or something look or feel younger, fresher, or more lively.
Examples:
Rejuvenate a downtown area. Rejuvenate energy. The spa treatment promised to rejuvenate her skin and leave her feeling refreshed.
Individually.
Separately or apart from others.
Examples:
Answer questions individually. Individually designed product. Each department has done its product costing individually.
Decision.
The act or process of making up someone's mind about something, a choice or judgment reached after considering options.
Examples:
Decision authority. A selfish decision. She was struggling to make a decision between two job offers.
Overrun.
To invade or occupy a place or territory by force, especially in large numbers. Noun, the act of taking control or overwhelming something or someone.
Examples:
Overrun an area. Garden overrun with weeds. The invading army quickly may overrun the small country and took control of its capital city.
Deplete.
To reduce something, especially supplies of energy, money, etc., by a large amount, to use up resources or materials.
Examples:
Deplete customer confidence. Deplete glycogen stores. If we continue to deplete the Earth's natural resources, we will cause severe damage to the environment.
Detriment.
Something that causes harm, injury, or damage.
Examples:
Detriment of society. Bring great detriment. The new approach resulted in a significant detriment to the local economy.
Difficulty.
A condition or state that causes problems.
Examples:
The degree of difficulty. Difficulty in breathing. He has difficulty exercising because of a back injury sustained in an accident.
Overfishing.
The removal of too many fish from a body of water, causing a decline in population levels and harm to the ecosystem.
Examples:
Overfishing crisis. Overfishing ban. The ocean's ecosystem is being threatened by overfishing, causing many species to become endangered.
Carbon.
A chemical element that can be found in pure form as diamond or graphite, and it is also an essential part of coal and oil and is found in all plants and animals.
Examples:
Carbon dioxide. Carbon emission. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and give off oxygen.
Emission.
The act of production or sending out gas, heat, light, etc.
Examples:
Global emissions of greenhouse gases. The emission of light. There are 5 distinct emissions at 5 unique wavelengths.
Mitigate.
To make less severe or less intense, to alleviate or lessen the adverse effects of something.
Examples:
Mitigate risk. Mitigate a natural disaster. Efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change require a coordinated and sustained effort by governments, businesses, and individuals.
Climate.
The weather in a particular location averaged over some long period.
Examples:
A cold climate. Effects of climate change. Climate and weather have an impact on every part of our lifestyles.
Prioritize.
To assign a higher level of importance to something compared to other things.
Examples:
Prioritize tasks. Prioritize people over cars. The organization prioritized the needs of the community in its decision-making.
Diminish.
To reduce or be reduced in size, extent, or importance, to make something smaller, weaker, etc.
Examples:
Diminish a reputation. Diminish swelling. As people get old, their energies may diminish.
Tragedy.
An event or situation causing great loss, misfortune, or destruction. A play or literature that deals with a severe and sad event and often ends with the death of the main character.
Examples:
A tragedy during work. The aftermath of this tragedy. Macbeth is a famous tragedy by Shakespeare.
Traditionally.
In accordance with tradition, typically or commonly done in a particular way.
Examples:
Traditionally accepted concept. Traditionally sung at a banquet. Traditionally, the ceremony was held outdoors.
Insidious.
Tending to entrap or beguile unawares, working or spreading in a hidden and usually harmful way.
Examples:
Insidious plot. Insidious behavior. The disease has an insidious onset, making it difficult to diagnose.
Necessarily.
In an essential manner, in such a way as could not be otherwise.
Examples:
Not necessarily a problem. Necessarily true. This accident was something that happened necessarily.
Individual.
A single person or thing, as distinct from a group.
Examples:
A private individual. Individual freedom. As an individual, he had the right to make his own decisions and live his life as he saw fit.
Manufacture.
To make goods in large numbers, usually in a factory using machines.
Examples:
manufacture an enzyme, manufacture a product. The majority of synthetic vitamins are manufactured from oil.
Maximum.
The largest or greatest amount or value attainable or attained.
Examples:
maximum limit, the maximum speed. The maximum temperature recorded this summer was higher than average.
Automatically.
Without needing a direct human control.
Examples:
record driving automatically, automatically adjusted. Our subscription plan is automatically renewed.
Metaphor.
A figure of speech in which an expression is used to refer to something that it does not denote to suggest a similarity.
Examples:
metaphor for death, visual metaphor. She expressed her thought in an artful choice of metaphors.
Algorithm.
A set of rules or rigorous instructions typically used to solve a specific problem or to perform a computation.
Examples:
the RSA algorithm, algorithm for image processing. We can evaluate the performance of an algorithm in terms of computation time.
Typical.
Having the usual characteristics or traits of a specific group of things.
Examples:
typical leader, fairly typical symptoms. This artwork is typical of her work.
Government.
The group of people with authority to control a country or state.
Examples:
government bureaucracy, government funding. The federal government is planning to increase taxes for the next fiscal year.
Communal.
Belonging to or used by a group rather than individuals, for common use.
Examples:
communal swimming pool, communal combination of funds. Communal elections were held in several European countries.
Outcome.
The result or effect of an action, event, etc.
Examples:
improved student outcomes, a desirable outcome. They awaited news of the outcome of the election.
Constraint.
A limit or restriction on something, such as an action, behavior, or thought.
Examples:
constraint on business activity, strict time constraints. The budget constraint forced them to make difficult decisions.
Implement.
to put a decision, plan, or system into effect.
Examples:
Implement a corporate strategy. Implement security measures. The government promised to implement a new system to control the financial crisis.
Monitor.
To observe, check, and track the progress or quality of something over a period of time.
Examples:
Monitor an exam. Monitor the data carefully. They used a special receiver to monitor police radio channels.
Enforcement.
The act of ensuring that rules, regulations, or laws are obeyed or implemented. The act of applying force or pressure to compel compliance with rules or laws.
Examples:
Enforcement action. Enforcement officer. The enforcement of the new traffic laws led to a decrease in accidents.
Preserve.
To keep or maintain a particular quality, feature, etc., especially to prevent it from decaying, being damaged, or being destroyed.
Examples:
Preserve my strength. Preserve a country's heritage. They worked hard to preserve the nature of their native lands.
Sacrifice.
The act of killing an animal or person or surrendering a possession as an offering to a deity. Verb: to give up something important or valuable to help another person or get or do something that seems more important.
Examples:
Small sacrifice for a great cause. Sacrifice anything to get ahead. You cannot accomplish great things without a sacrifice of your time or money.
Unconditional.
Not subject to any conditions, absolute or complete, not limited by any qualifications or restrictions.
Examples:
Unconditional forgiveness. Unconditional support. Her love for him was unconditional, despite all of his flaws.
Opt.
To make a choice from a range of possibilities.
Examples:
Opt out of society. Opt for a traditional wedding. I decided to opt for premature retirement.
Riddle.
A type of question that describes something in a difficult and confusing way, and that has a surprising answer, often asked as a game.
Examples:
Riddle me a riddle. Solve the riddle. The riddle remains mysterious to us.
Enforce.
To make sure that people obey a particular law, rule, or situation.
Examples:
Enforce the law. Enforce a contract. Governments make rules, and police enforce them.
Brilliant.
Extremely clever, skilled, or impressive.
Examples:
Brilliant idea. Brilliant performance. The more brilliant you are, the more people around you look at you with envy and jealousy.
Moral.
Concerned with the principles of what is right and wrong, fairness, honesty, etc.
Examples:
Moral hazard. Moral burden. Ethics deals with moral conduct.
Random.
Made, done, or happening without method, conscious decision, or any regular pattern.
Examples:
A random choice. Bombs fell at random. To find drunk drivers, police conduct random tests.
Sequence.
A series of related events, actions, numbers, etc., which have a particular order.
Examples:
The sequence of the seasons. The DNA sequence. We do move forward with those tasks in sequence next week.
Vary.
To become different in terms of size, shape, etc.
Examples:
Vary according to the age. Vary directly with the price. Maximum heart rates vary a lot for each individual.
Victim.
A person who has been harmed, injured, or otherwise negatively affected by a particular action, circumstance, or event.
Examples:
Victim support. Victim compensation. The victim of the crime deserves justice and support to recover from the trauma.
Recognize.
To acknowledge or realize something or someone, to identify, remember, or become aware of something that was previously known or encountered.
Examples:
Recognize talent. Recognize achievement. It's important to recognize your strengths and weaknesses.
Announce.
To make something known or officially inform people about something.
Examples:
Announce candidacy. Announce the award winners. The third season of the anime show has been announced.
Checklist.
A list of items, tasks, or points to be considered or acted upon, used as a reminder and to ensure that all necessary steps have been taken.
Examples:
Checklist for evaluating. Audit checklist. I made a checklist of things to do before my vacation.
Automaker.
A company or manufacturer that produces automobiles, cars, and other motor vehicles.
Examples:
Japanese automaker. Luxury automaker. The automaker's sales have increased by 10% this quarter, thanks to strong consumer demand.
Warn.
To make someone aware of potential danger or difficulty, particularly one that may occur in the future.
Examples:
Warn a reckless driver. Warned me of the plan. I attempted to warn him, but he ignored me.
Prefer.
To like, choose, or want one thing or person better than another.
Examples.
Prefer physics to chemistry. Prefer a window seat. The birds prefer open water areas with reeds around them.
Pun.
A humorous play on words or use of words that sound similar but have different meanings, often for a comedic effect, a form of wordplay.
Examples.
Witty pun. Silly pun. The comedian's pun had the audience laughing out loud.
Jaywalking.
The act of illegally crossing a street or road at a point other than a designated pedestrian crossing, crossing a street in a reckless or careless manner.
Examples.
Jaywalking incident. Penalty for jaywalking. He received a fine for jaywalking across the busy intersection.
Wrap.
To cover or enclose something entirely with paper, cloth, or other material.
Examples.
Wrap a fish in foil. Wrap up a meeting. Wrap the bandage tightly around the injured arm.
Specific.
Clearly defined or particular to a certain thing or situation, distinct, explicit, and precise.
Examples.
Specific instructions. Industry-specific regulations. The scientist conducted a study that provided specific details about the species' behavior.
Disobedient.
Refusing to follow the rules or orders, often deliberately or defiantly, showing a lack of respect for authority or established norms.
Examples.
Disobedient attitude. Disobedient dog. The disobedient child refused to clean up after themselves, despite constant requests from their parents.
Importance.
The quality of being important and worthy of note.
Examples.
A man of importance. High importance. I stopped by the branch though I have no business of importance.
Introduction.
A preliminary explanation or remarks given before the start of a text, performance, or event, the act of bringing something new into existence or introducing something to a wider audience or new market.
Examples.
Introduction education. Self-introduction. The introduction to the new class was informative and engaging.
Precedence.
The condition of being considered more important or given priority over something else, an earlier occurrence or event that serves as an example or model for future actions.
Examples.
Precedence constraint. Set a precedence. The safety of the community takes precedence over individual concerns.
Context.
The circumstances, facts, or conditions that surround a particular event, situation, or statement and that give it meaning.
Examples:
Historical context, legal context. It's important to understand the context of a situation before making a decision.
Technological.
Based on scientific and industrial progress.
Examples:
Technological advancement, technological policy. Technological advances have disrupted many industries.
Cooperation.
The act or situation of working together with someone towards a shared purpose, benefit, etc.
Examples:
Cooperation with strategic partners. Thoroughgoing cooperation. The cooperation between businesses and universities created this groundbreaking product.